Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace, my go-to for building a website and online shop. Hello friends, welcome to part 6 of this never-ending video series that I'm trying to draw out for as long as possible. If you'd like to watch several hours of real-time tutorials with voiceovers recorded as I paint, plus access to hundreds of hours of exclusive content and monthly art rewards, feel free to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/happydartist. It's a space where I share more in-depth content for those of you who want to dive deeper into technique, process, and the behind-the-scenes moments that don't always make it into these videos. Man, making oil painting video content is hard when you have a busy month with not much time to paint. So I had to split up my limited painting progress this month into 2 videos, the second of which we're watching now. I guess the good news / silver lining is that the footage is so slowed down that it's almost close to a real-time painting speed, so you can get a more accurate look at my technique and brushwork and process. But yeah, basically whenever I sit down to paint, I record the entire session that day and then turn the footage into its own YouTube video time lapse. So in the past, I could paint for several hours a day, or I would have so much content and footage that I could bundle up several sessions worth of painting content into one video. But these days, life has just gotten so busy that I can only paint for an hour at a time. So I have to make the most of what little footage I have. Perhaps it'll be time for a life update video soon. I don't know. Anyway, in the previous video, I had talked about how I wasn't quite sure if I liked how those first 2 floating goldfish turned out, primarily because the stylization was so overly cartoonish and I wanted them to at least match the level of realism in the female subject. I had used several different references for those floating fish, and I thought I could just Frankenstein them together in my head, which became more of a freehanding experiment where I drew the fish kind of from my imagination mostly. So for this final fish in the fishbowl, which is what I'm painting right now, I actually found one good reference photo, and I used just that one reference photo. And I tried to render the fish realistically, but also intentionally exaggerating the proportions in certain areas to make the gesture flow a little bit better, to make it a little bit more stylized, but not going too far, kind of like what I did with the human subject, where she's not quite photorealistic, but she's not too cartoonish either. So I think this time around, this fish looks way better than the previous 2. And it doesn't make my eye twitch when I stare at it. So I guess the key to achieving realism is pick one reference photo and stick with it. Or if you're gonna stitch together many different reference photos, maybe just do that first in its own separate step, like make your own digital collage in Photoshop, and then use that final finished collage, or Photoshop blend or whatever you like to call it, use that as the single reference. But don't just have like 3 or 4 different photos floating around and you look at each one and then try to paint a combination of all 3 or 4 of them, because that is going to result in a lot of confusion. At least for me. I don't know, maybe for those of you watching and listening out there, if you've done that and it turned out well, then great. But for me, that's what resulted in a very confusing experience. So yeah, from now on, just one single reference photo per element for me so I can focus. Also, I purposely made the fish in the fishbowl look different from the two floating fish. The one in the fishbowl is larger and more colorful. It seems alive, healthy, and normal in contrast with the more fragile and ghostly spirit fish by her head. I'll explain the significance of this visual narrative in a later video, hopefully the last video in the series where I complete the painting and talk about all the personal symbols I poured into it. But for now, I gotta wrap up this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope we can finally finish this painting and video series before 2025 is over. That will definitely be my goal for the end of the year. Anyway, I hope to see you all in December. And of course, you guessed it, my eternal never-ending sale is still going on in my shop, so if you'd like 20% off your order of prints and originals, just enter the code HOLIDAY at happyd-artist.com. And if you're interested in learning more about how to paint and draw, I have lots of art educational content on my Patreon page, including exclusive video tutorials, step-by-step photo tutorials, live streams, podcasts, and even surprise art gift boxes. All available at patreon.com/happydartist. I'd love to have you join my Patreon family. A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video and supporting the art community. I've been using Squarespace for 10 years now, and it's been an integral part of being able to make a living as an artist. Aside from their beautiful, customizable templates and easy-to-use interface, Squarespace now has so many robust tools to help make website building be both effective and intuitive. There's a new design intelligence feature that uses a combination of industry experience and cutting-edge AI to help you make a website bespoke to your brand and digital identity. Squarespace takes the intimidation out of setting up an online shop with their intuitive e-commerce platform that accepts every type of payment method you can imagine, all with just a few simple clicks, so you can easily sell your work all around the world. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/happydartist to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Also, if you want to check out more artworks, works in progress, and just random daily artist adventures, feel free to check out my Instagram, and you can follow me at the handle @happydartist.